Happy Friday, everyone! Cheers! So, I'm filming this on Tuesday. But still, it's a public holiday tomorrow, so might as well be Friday. So today we're going to be going through all the books that I read in May. It's not quite the end of May for me while I'm filming it, but it will be when you guys see this. So these are all the books that I read in May. I read 10 books, which isn't great, but it's also not terrible. And I'm really proud of the number we have today. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in and let me ramble on about the books I read this month. I just had some chicken nuggets, so sorry if I'm still salivating a bit. And then chicken nuggets and a glass of wine. Classy. Firstly, I know that I can ramble on quite a bit. I'm going to try and make this as concise as possible, but knowing me, it's going to be super convoluted because I just say whatever comes to mind and sometimes it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to try my best just to keep it concise. So the first book we started off the month with was The Hawthorne Legacy. Let me turn my lights down. It is down. Is it? Yeah, my lights are down. So I don't know if you can see that because on the viewfinder it looks like it's washing that out. So hopefully you can see it. So The Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second book in the Inheritance games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I really did like this. I gave this a 4-star. Sorry, I'm just referring back to my journal because this month feels like it's been 6 months all in 4 weeks. Some of them I have forgotten and hence why it's going to be convoluted. We already know. This continues on from the Inheritance games. Some more secrets are revealed. It turns out that someone they thought was dead is still alive, and that could completely contradict the will that was in place when, what was her name? When Avery was named sole heir to the Hawthorne, what is it called? Inheritance. So she inherited a lump sum of money, but she's kind of finding out now different things. Like she thought that maybe her father wasn't really her father and someone had gotten something wrong, but it turns out that her father was her father. Her sister and herself are, trying to get through this mentally, emotionally. Their real father is now back in the picture and just making things super complicated. She does have a little bit more fun in this one, and I wouldn't say she spends her money, but she goes on a private plane and she goes on a little holiday, although it's all to find clues. It is a very fun mystery and you just go along on this little scavenger hunt with, it's YA, so a bunch of teens, and I thought it was a great book and I loved starting my month off with this. I didn't film it because my fiance was here, and sometimes when he's here I don't like to film as much because it pulls me away from him and we only have limited time together. So I think we spent 3 weeks together in South Africa. I just don't want to, I try not to, put it that way, do too many like reading vlogs. I'll do sit down videos because it's quick, but a reading vlog can span over a week or two. So very happy I read this, gave it a 4-star and I would 100% recommend. Next, yeah, this is right up my alley. I read The Heartbreaker, or just Heartbreaker by Elle Kennedy. I never read anything by Elle Kennedy previously. This was my first time, and it is a spicy romance, brother's best friend, forced proximity, all the tropes that I like in a sort of smutty book. It was very smutty. Look at my face. I loved it. And I gave this a 4.5 stars. The story follows Jen and Cash. They initially meet at a bar. He's kind of standoffish because he is a Marine, and he walks to the back room to avoid this one girl who's kind of pestering him and borderline stalking him. And he goes into the back room supply closet and there's a girl already sitting there and she's like, it's dark in there, so he can't really see her, but they have like a little chat and then they start like hooking up and stuff, but the manager walks in and throws them out. So he gets her number, leaves the bar, but then drops his phone in a puddle of water. I know, how convenient. Doesn't hear from her again. And Jen is the sister of, I don't know what they're called, but I don't know much about the army or the Marines. He is like higher up. Cash is like kind of new. I don't know what the rankings are. I can't remember. I think it's a lieutenant or something like that. Anyway, Jen's brother is like higher up and she's currently being stalked by her ex-boyfriend. He will stop at nothing. He's been literally hunting her down, sending her numerous emails. He even turned up at her house. So they plot to, you know, keep her safe. So she ends up having to move in with one of her brother's colleagues, and it ends up being Cash. So it kind of just, it's really funny. He's told not to touch her because, you know, that's his superior sister. It's really hard for them. She kind of gets it in her head that, you know, she's going to get what she wants no matter what her brother said. So she kind of plots to seduce him. It's really funny. It's really interesting. It's definitely not YA. I think it's more like more mature, not mature adults, but definitely more of an adult romance. I really enjoyed it. I've already downloaded the second book and I'm so excited to get into this. I think the second one is going to be really interesting. For Al Kennedy, I think that was a great start and a great opener to her books because I really enjoyed it and I gave it 4.5 stars, like I said. So would recommend if you like smutty, spicy romance books. I'm gonna have to change my battery in a sec and my mic died as well. So great stuff, great start. Next, I read Want to Know a Secret by Frida McFadden, and this I also gave a 4-star. It was really good. I haven't read one by her for a while that's really captivated me and made me want to keep reading. I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll probably see this in a vlog before this where I read thrillers for a week and I absolutely loved it. It follows our main character. Her name is April and she's a YouTuber. She has a channel where she does like baking and stuff, and she's getting these random messages from an unknown number on her phone, and the message kind of, the first chapter, it's like, you know, your son isn't where he's meant to be, and she goes outside looking for her son and he's vanished. So she's running around freaking out, asking her husband to help her look, running around all down the neighborhood, calling people, trying to find out where her son is, and he ends up being at the neighbor's house. And these are new neighbors, they've never met. She's meant to go and say hello, but never had the time. The neighbor gives weird vibes, creepy vibes. The son is there. So she gets the son, they're walking home and she's like, you know, never ever do that again. Unless I give you permission to leave, don't leave. The mom had said, or the next door neighbor had said that he had said that his mom said he could go over. When they're walking home, he's like crying, he's upset, and he's like, you know, I didn't do that. She came up to the fence and she told me that you said I could go play. And she's like, well, you know, you still need to confirm with me. So that's where it kicks off. And a lot of things unfold. April is quite wealthy. Her husband is a lawyer. He's a cheater. So she already knows that he's cheated on before, but there's some backstory about this whole situation and she kind of feels like he's doing it again. But she's also super sneaky, super, I don't know what the word is, but she's over friendly with men and she's sort of inappropriate. All the women in the neighborhood tend to be turning against her. She's not even invited to book clubs anymore and everybody seems to love this new woman, Maria, who moved in next door, which she introduced to everybody. So she's kind of like, she's feeling victimized, she's feeling left out, and this is making her super angry. And at every turn, she tries to do something back, and then there's backlash. So when someone turns up murdered who is kind of affiliated with her family, there's all these investigations, and then it switches to the point of view of her best friend. But this best friend is not really her best friend. She just calls her best friend because she wants to be best friends with her. So they kind of switch point of views and secrets are revealed. But it's so juicy. It's like the juiciest domestic mystery you'll ever have. I swear, it's so good and I just ate it up. So I gave this a 4-star. Like I said, super, super happy. But that's all I read on my Kindle this month. I want to do a video where I just read Kindle Unlimited books. Let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that. Next, I read Verity. Majority of you already know what this book is about. It's been around since 2018. I thought it was a newer release, but it's not. But I was always very interested and curious to know what it was about, because I personally do like Colleen Hoover's writing. It's easy to get out of slump with it. It's very quick to read, very easy to understand. Not a literary masterpiece, but very, very entertaining. So this kind of follows an author who got into an accident, now incapacitated. So her husband commissions another author to ghostwrite the remaining books in a series. So I think she needs to write 3 books and 6 books have already been written. So she's invited to their house to kind of go through her office, you know, look through her books, her notes, kind of try to surmise what the characters need to be like, where the books are leading, how it should end, and secrets are revealed. Jeremy, the husband, is married to Verity, and Verity was in a car accident, but the circumstances seem a little bit weird. So Verity is basically a vegetable at this point. So Lowen goes there, she's trying to, you know, get together, but she finds a manuscript that Verity wrote, and it's supposed to be like a biography, but in it there's the most graphic, most taboo things. She doesn't know whether to believe it or not. She doesn't understand why Jeremy still, you know, is here with this woman. She's put him through hell, and yet he's looking after her. So after a few events, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but if you don't want to hear this, skip past this bit to the next book. Verity shows signs and symptoms that she is not really incapacitated at all, and her little son, who is the sole survivor out of all his siblings, kind of hints that he's been talking to his mom and stuff. So all of that comes to light. The plot twist was interesting, but the last 20 pages just didn't do it for me, unfortunately, because there's a letter that Verity wrote as well as the epilogue, which I felt like were completely unnecessary to sum up the story. I think where it was left was great, and I literally ate it up until that last 2 chapters, I want to say. So I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. Still great, still would recommend, but it definitely wasn't my favorite Colleen Hoover book, unfortunately. After that, I picked up The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland, and I thought the cover was very interesting. So this is like a fantasy, horror, dystopian kind of book. It's not fully dystopian because it's still in our world, but there's a lot of magic, and it kind of centers around the occult. So we have Emma Bryn, who is a curse writer and a witch. Then we have Jude, I don't know what her surname is, Jude Wolfe, who has cursed herself numerous times and tethered demons to her because she was playing with the occult. And then we have Zara Jones, who unfortunately had her sister murdered, and she's trying to bring her sister back from the dead. I need to change on my battery, give me 2 seconds. And we're back. So sorry about that. I filmed quite a bit today, so my battery dies very quickly. I think my memory card is almost full as well. But anyway, like I was saying, Zara Jones kind of wants to mess with necromancy. So in that, it's kind of revolving around the occult. So Jude's main aim is to find a curse writer to unwrite the curses that she's done to herself, because unfortunately the curses went wrong and she's now got a demon attached to her that doesn't want to be. So he's literally causing havoc in her life. When she drinks too much or is unconscious, he'll try and control her, throw against the wall, do all these things. There is a open wound on her leg that is literally rotting her skin off, and she kind of smells like sulfur and rot. So she just wants us away because now her family has shunned her, told everybody she was a heroin addict, and just got rid of her to not be in the public eye anymore because she comes from a very, very wealthy family. Then Emma comes from a line of witches. She used to live in a cult, and ghost hunters and witch hunters killed off her whole family. So the 3 of them meet by accident because Zara and Jude are looking for something occult related. So they meet up at a crime scene and they team up together and they find Emma Bryn. So it takes them on a little adventure, and yeah, it's a lot of occultness in it. Everything I just said, as I said in my video where I reviewed this, I made it sound interesting, but it really wasn't. It was kind of written like a occult textbook. So it's a lot of information loading and not a lot of storytelling, a lot of like telling but not seeing. Like there's, I don't know, a lot of it was just more facts than it was actually the story. So I didn't really enjoy this, and I gave this a 2.5. I wouldn't recommend it. 2.5 is literally too high, but the last chapter kind of made up for it because it kind of told a story rather than just being told facts about the occult. So the last book in the mystery video I did is the reappearance of Rachel Price. I did enjoy this book. I don't have the best relationship. I don't have the best view of Holly Jackson. I hated The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I didn't read any further than the first book. I felt like there was just too much information and the book was way too long. It took me about 2 weeks to read, which I know I'm a slow reader, but that's This one was good. I did enjoy it. I would recommend it. But there were points in it, again, where it was just going round and round in circles. And I was like, can we get to the point? I just want to know what happens. So I kind of ended up skimming a lot of the pages just to get to the point where we found out what happened. So as it says in the name, it is the reappearance of Rachel Price. And Belle, her daughter, was the only witness to her kidnapping or whatever, the day she vanished. Belle was there. She was 2 years old. So this is 16 years later. They've agreed to do a documentary on the disappearance of Rachel Price. And then 2 weeks into this documentary, Rachel reappears. It is twisty. It is good. I really like the side character Ash, who helps Belle investigate her mom's disappearance because she doesn't believe her mom. She just wants to be with her dad. She doesn't want Rachel there. She has bad vibes. So, but the bad vibes are misdirected. But anyway, the reveal was all right. I know people said it was a little bit far-fetched. I really did enjoy that aspect. It was just the middle bit over here, which probably didn't even need to exist because it was just too long. But secrets are revealed again, and I really did like the ending. So I gave this a 3.5 stars, which isn't terrible. It's the same I think I actually gave this a 3.75. I gave this a 3.75. It was almost a 4. It was just that lull in the middle that was come on, can we get to the point? But yeah, that is that one. I hope my books don't burn over here with my candles. And then lastly, it's not last, but it is last. I read the rest of the selection series. So there are 2 books before this. There's one novella that I'm missing, but it's not necessary to read. But I read the Selection Elite last year in the beginning of the year, and then I decided to finish this off. The vlog will be after this video, so I'm not going to go too in depth, and that's why I'm just showing you all of them. So I read the selection stories, The Prince and the God, which I gave 3 stars to. Really enjoyed that. Then we read The One, which is kind of the last book between Maxon and America. Spoiler there. This one, I think I gave a 4 star to. I really did enjoy it. Not the direction I thought it would go in, but still happy that I read it. And I would recommend, especially to younger girls. It's dystopian Regency, and I love it. I loved it so much. I ate it up. And then we have The Heir, which is no longer Maxon in America. They are, however, in the story, but it's a different selection. This one I gave a 3.75 star to, almost a 4 star, but again, it was just a little bit longer than expected, and Eden was a little bit of a brat. You'll see more when the vlog comes up, so I don't want to spoil too much. And then lastly, I read The Crown, again by Kira Cass, which is the last book in the series, and this one I gave a 4 star. Really did enjoy this. It summed up the entire story really well. The epilogue was a bit disappointing, but other than that, the book was enjoyable, and I really enjoyed my week reading these books. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave these reviews for you to see in the vlog, but those are my ratings. I really enjoyed it. Would 100% recommend. And with that said, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great weekend and an even better Friday night. Grab your wine and grab a book, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye, guys.